Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. Let's have a look at the latest impossible mission for Taishakuten. And yeah, this quest is fun. It's not too difficult. And then there are lots and lots of monsters that you can bring through here. And some of those monsters I haven't used in a while, so I was happy to use them here. Gimmicks here are mostly mines, and then there are blocks, but we don't necessarily need no block. And then pierce monsters also seem to be better. There's kind of like very narrow places where we can move if we don't have no block. So pierce monsters will be able to get through those and then move around pretty well. There's also lots of weak points in the center of enemies, so that's yet another reason to use pierce monsters. And then these shield-looking things, if we hit them, we will get speed up. And then their first turn, they will go into counterattack mode. And then if we hit them, they will give us power up in addition to speed up. So it's very important to be hitting those as often as possible. There are also the speed down walls. And then if we hit those, then basically that's the end of the turn. And then to talk about the team that I'm using, first is King. And then he is a Pierce with Flight and No Block. He also has a weak point slayer, so he gets extra damage on everybody. And he's pretty good. He's my only character with no block, so he can take angles that my other characters cannot. He has a very strong strike shot, the Sunflower, and then we'll see that at work in the last stage. Next up I'm using the new Cecil, and then he's from the Final Fantasy Hatcher. He is a Pierce with a Minesweeper, and then he also has a Weak Point Slayer. So he'll get extra damage on everybody, and then his attack is very high already. So even though he doesn't get the elemental bonus, being a wood monster, he's still one of my best damage sources. He also has a pretty good bump combo, one of the few bump combos good for this mission, and that is the Lock-On Pierce Wave, the super version. And then the Weak Point Slayer also goes into that, so it's a legitimate source of damage during this quest. And then since it aims for the center of monsters, there's a very good chance that it will hit weak points, so it's even better there. And then one thing to consider here is to use characters with an attack high enough that they can one-punch these angels. And then Cecil, his attack is high enough to do that, so he's pretty good for that. And then he has a new strike shot called Kabao, or Cover. And then it's like a speed and power up, so you can use it just for that. But he also gets the ability to cover your teammates for the next round. And he can kind of lower the amount of damage that you get. And it works pretty well. I was watching some other YouTubers play through here, and they used Cecil, and they were surprised by how much damage he mitigated, so that was really good. Okay, next up I'm using Gabrielle Ascension, and this is a character that I really like that I haven't used in a little bit. I've been using her for Nirai Kanai and maybe Doom, but not for anything else really. So to use her here was a lot of fun. She is a Pierce with Minesweeper, and her speed is low, but it's not that big of a deal in this mission because of the speed up shield things. And her attack is very high, so she can do good damage against everybody. She has a Poison Meteor Strike Shot, which is not exactly great for the angels, since you'll take them down in one hit anyway. But for like the elephants or the boss, that can be good, like extended damage to them. And then my friend is Kufurin Transcendent, and then I think she's considered one of the best for this mission. She's another Pierce with Minesweeper, but she has Minesweeper like L or EL, so that's crazy damage when she picks up a mine. She has a Null Everything Strike Shot, which doesn't really change anything in this mission. It just gives her speed and power up, so very, very powerful. And then, I really recommend bringing mostly Minesweepers rather than characters with Flight. As we can see here, when the mine explodes, that's big, big damage on us. So we want to, either work on our positioning or just pick up those mines. it's much easier to pick up the mines, so that's why I recommend bringing mostly Minesweepers. Maybe bring one character with Flight, and then everybody else Minesweeper. That's what I would recommend. And then if you're not very good with the gauge, then I wouldn't recommend bringing somebody with like Flight on the gauge, so like Tonpopo or somebody. If that's not a problem for you, then you can go ahead and bring Tonpopo. But yeah, basically, every mission, every stage plays the same. We want to get rid of all of the little guys, and then they revive each other every turn. So we want to get rid of all of like the angels in one turn, for example. So let's look at that here with Cecil. He'll come down, he'll hit the speed up shield, hit another speed up shield, and then take all the angels down in one turn, so they're gone. So now we can just focus on the boss. And then when the boss is alone, we want to hit the shield first in order to get that attack up, so that we can do damage on the boss. There are some characters in some situations that can do good damage to the boss without hitting the shield, but 9 times out of 10 you're going to want to hit that shield first and then go after the boss. And yeah, maybe it just suits my way of playing, or my style of play. But I found that this mission wasn't too difficult. So actually, after I got this initial clear, I immediately went in with max luck characters and using the metal chests in order to get more drops. Because I'm going to work on making the max luck of Taishakuten. She's pretty good as a character. She's a Pierce with no gravity barrier, no damage wall. And then Deity Resistance, which means she'll take less damage from like Izanami or Tsukuyomi. She has the lock-on Pierce Wave poison version, which does a little bit less damage up front, but does that extended poison damage and then can hurt the scorpions, or take them down in one hit, so that's good. And then she has a speed-in power-up strike shot, plus an additional, like, piercing barrage shotgun, so pretty good character, especially considering how doable the quest is. And I think, listening to what most YouTubers said, there's not a really great max luck available for this quest yet. Maybe the closest one that people can think of is Joya Berun Ascension. He's pierced with Minesweeper, and then an explosion strike shot. So he's decent, but actually I went through with Tsukuyomi, and she was pretty good. Her attack is low, so she cannot one-punch the angels. But if you have the Kai version, you can give her an Able Berry, and that will help a little bit. If you were really a maniac about it, you could also give Tsukuyomi Kai the Hero Scroll. Give her 2 Able Berry slots, and then you can give her 2 Kin Strength Able Berries. But yeah, I found that even without getting the one punch in there, she was perfectly usable. She also has a Deity Slayer, which works on the boss here. Her strike shot is not great. It's a tackle plus the healing. I mean, it's good in certain missions, but not here. Because if you want to do damage to the boss, you have to hit the shield first. And of course, with a tackle strike shot, you're going to stick to that first target. But you could use the tackle strike shot on the elephants in particular, since they don't revive each other. So that's how I would use that. Or you could just tackle anybody in order to get that healing. Okay, so here we are in the boss sequence. These angels, this might be the most difficult stage to get all the angels in one turn. So let's use Cecil's strike shot, and that will give him speed and power up. So we're able to take down the angels. And then he will cover our characters the next round, the next 3 turns. Okay, so now it's just us and the boss. We'll hit the shield and then get in there. And I thought it was funny that probably the hitbox, the sprite for this boss, oh, there's the cover, that's very cool. The hitbox for this boss is probably the smallest I've ever seen in any mission. That's probably just because, you know, the passageways that you can travel through are so narrow that they had to shrink the size of the boss. Alright, here comes King with his null block. Again, he can take, you know, routes that other characters cannot. Okay, there's that cover again. Taking almost no damage there, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, very happy to use Cecil here. He was the character I was most interested in the Final Fantasy Hatcher. And not super necessary to take down the elephants. They don't like heal the boss or anything. But of course they do have their own damaging attacks, so if we can take them down, I would go ahead and do that. Okay, there's some mines going off pretty soon. Let's hope I do not get hit by any of those. Okay, great. Alright, let's see if we can grab the heart and the timer and then get in there. Okay, perfect. Alright, we're looking pretty good for the last stage. Okay, so again, we want to get rid of the angels. So let's jump into that speed up shield and then work our way around. Not quite. And one other thing that I thought was fun about this quest is that it kind of rewards using crazy angles, like 45-degree angles. There are very few impossible missions that I feel reward that, so this was kind of fun to play. It's different from any other impossible, I think. Although there are elements of like Magmel and Nidaikanai in here, so that's kind of fun too. Alright, so let's use King's Sunflower Strike Shot. And that is insane damage. We had our kind of positioning just right, so that each of the lasers that came out went through the boss's weak point. So that's why we were able to take down the boss basically in one hit. Okay, so that was Taishakuten. Not too difficult, I think. Again, people are saying there's not a good max luck for here, but I would try Joya Bedun or Tsukuyomi. And the character is very good, so I hope you can get her. Other characters good for here are like Mustang and Nostradamus. They also have speed up, so that can be good to help you take down the little guys all in one turn. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.